Hey scientific audience, how are you all? So today we will be discussing about part 2 of the glass slab and Snell's laws connection. And here we have 3 slabs, but this theory is even valid for infinite number of slabs. So here this is slab number 1, slab number 2, slab number 3, and these two are the surrounding medium. Correct? This may be air or anything else. So this medium in which you have incident ray has refractive index mu1, and this is the first slab whose refractive index is mu2, second slab mu3, and the third slab has refractive index mu4. And again the ray comes back in the same medium, so I had earlier given it as refractive index as mu5, but mu5 and mu1 are the same, so these two mediums are same. So finally the emergent ray is going out in the same medium. Correct? Now I'm assuming that the slabs are arranged in the increasing order of the refractive index, and it is also true if they are in decreasing order or whatever may be the refractive index. So suppose this is mu3 less than mu2 or greater than mu2, it is totally fine. So it is not compulsory that the glass slabs are supposed to be arranged in refractive index of increasing order or decreasing order. That's totally fine. You can arrange it in whatsoever manner you want, but I have kept it more easier for you to understand. So this here mu4 is greater than mu3, greater than mu2, greater than mu1. Correct? So when a ray of light enters from medium number 1 to medium number 2, so this is rarer medium, this is denser medium, so instead of going straight, it is bending towards normal. Again, this ray, when it enters inside this medium, it is bending towards normal. Again, when this ray enters inside this medium, it is bending towards normal. But when this ray comes out, this ray is coming from denser to rarer, so it will bend away from the normal. Right? Now this is our angle of incidence, this is angle of refraction for surface AB, and if we write the Snell's law for this surface, so mu1 sine I is equal to mu2 sine R1. This is equation number 1. Now the same ray, refracted ray, touches this surface DC, and this refracted ray now will behave as the incident ray for CD. And as you can see, these two are the alternate angles because the normals are always perpendicular to the surface and surfaces are parallel, so all the normals will also be parallel to one another. So these two angles are equal, and this will be the angle of incidence. So, and this will be the angle of refraction for this surface DC. So mu2 sine R2, applying Snell's law for surface DC, mu2 sine R2, that is equal to mu2 sine R1. Sorry, I made a mistake here. Mu2 sine R1, that is equal to mu3 sine R2. This is equation number 2. Now this incident ray, this refracted ray will behave as the incident ray for surface EF, and again it is bending towards the normal, so the new angle of refraction is less than the angle of incidence, and applying the Snell's law over here, mu3 sine R2, that is equal to mu4 sine R3. Equation number 3. Now this refracted ray will behave as the incident ray for this, and this ray will be behaving as the refracted ray for this surface, and finally this is incident ray and this is emergent ray. So applying Snell's law for surface GH, mu4 sine R3, that is equal to mu1 sine E. This is our equation number 4. Now if you look at this equation very carefully, see, if these two are equal, these two are equal and these two are equal, so these two are equal. Again, these two are equal, so these two are equal. And now since these two are equal, so these two are equal. Now these two are equal, so these two are equal, and these two are equal, so this and this are equal. So finally mu1 sine I is equal to mu1 sine E. You might have understood that these two are equal, so these two are equal. Now these two are equal, so these two are equal. These two are equal, so these two are equal. In the same way, this mu1 sine I becomes equal to mu1 sine E. So gets cancelled, and sine I is equal to sine E. It is only possible if I is equal to E. But this is only possible if the first medium where you have incident ray and the last medium where you have emergent ray are same. Correct? Now, if we extend this, yes guys, I'll stop for a while and I'll let you know that if you have problem in the application of Snell's law, there is link given in the description. You may check that. Now, what I have done is I have extended this incident ray forward. This is our incident ray forward. So in absence of all these slabs, this ray would have traveled in the straight line like this. Now this is the emergent ray. Now these two are going to be parallel because these two angles are equal. So angle I and E are equal. So these two are always supposed to be parallel. But if you are not getting, just see here, I will give you the idea. Now these two are vertically opposite angles. Since this is I, this whole angle is also I. This and this whole angle are vertically opposite angles. So this angle will be 180 minus I. It is because this whole angle is 180 and this angle is I, vertically opposite angle. So this is 180 minus I. Correct. Now what am I going to do is, I am going to extend this normal and let it intersect this particular line, right? Okay, now see, since all normals are parallel, because all surfaces are parallel, so the normals to all the surfaces are also parallel to one another. So this last normal and this first normal are parallel and this dotted line acts as an transversal. Correct. So if this angle is 180 minus I, then this angle is also 180 minus I, because these two are corresponding angles. Now in the same way, if this is E, then this angle from here to here is 180 minus E. Now I'm talking about this line and these two lines. So if this is E, this is 180 minus E. Correct? This angle is 180 minus E because this whole angle is 180. Now we know that I and E are equal. That means 180 minus I and 180 minus E are the same. So now again these two becomes corresponding angles. So that means these two lines have to be parallel to one another. Hopefully guys, you have got it, right? So this line and this line are always parallel to one another. So in short, if there are multiple glass slabs and if the incident light falls on the first glass slab and it comes out of the same medium, then always the incident ray extended forward and the emergent ray are always parallel, and we call this distance as lateral shift. So hopefully guys, you have understood the explanation, correct? If you have any doubts related to Snell's law, it is my humble suggestion that you get it clarified first. The link is given in the description. This glass slab theory is not only applicable for 3 glass slabs. Even if you have 10 glass slabs, infinite glass slabs, it is going to work for all of them. If you place this slab or another slab whose refractive index, okay, the order of the refractive index of the glass slab does not matter over here. So if you arrange this glass slab in increasing order or decreasing order or whichsoever manner you want, it is totally fine. This theory is applicable for any kind of given cases. If you have any doubts guys, you can please comment in the comment section. Hopefully you have understood the whole video. Links are given in the description. You may check that. Thank you for watching the video. And if you have not subscribed my channel, please do that. It's a fun learning science channel with a lot of experiments. Thank you for watching the video guys.